guys. Hopefully you can hear me. I'm in the car. My daughter's asleep, taking a nap on the freeway. Thought I'd just take the opportunity to make a little video because I might not have another opportunity for today. So this is this is based on a comment someone left on a video that I made back in 2017. So it's actually January of 2017. I made a video over 2 years ago about how Amazon was suspending people's accounts because they were listing books new in new condition, but they didn't have what do you call them, invoices. And so I believe what ended up happening was the outcome was that these were for certain textbooks, I believe. And so a lot of people were getting slapped for that, and it was like a big deal at that time. And anyway, nothing has happened yet, or nothing like it has happened since, I don't believe, but still sort of it's worth knowing and noting that listing books or any media in new condition is probably something you shouldn't do. I never list anything new on Amazon because I don't want the hassle of them turning around and asking for an invoice or whatever it may be to verify the product. So at best, I will list something like new, but it's got to be, if it's a CD, it's got to be sealed, still has the shrink wrap and that little sticker across the top. And if it's a book, it's got to be really amazing condition. Like it still has that fresh book smell, and it's just immaculate. And I just hardly find books in that condition. So what I tend to do with the condition guidelines and the condition notes, well, the guidelines are, if something is in, potentially like a book is in like new condition, I'll just list it as very good, even though I feel that it could qualify for like new. So that when the person gets it, assuming that nothing has happened to it, of course, in the shipping process to and from the warehouse and all that kind of stuff, and in the warehouse, sorry, I lost my train of thought. That they'll get it, receive it in that condition, and that they'll be impressed by it. And most people don't leave feedback, but the few people that do, give you good feedback, and you don't have to worry about it. So if something's in really shabby shape, you should not be listing it in very good or like new, anything like that. And I tend to list most of my books and CDs as good condition, unless they are really great condition. For books, there's not much you can do about it. If a book is really crisp, and let's say, so the spine is great, or bend, or corner creases or corner bends or dents or anything like that. There's no folded over pages. Of course, there's no highlighting or underlining or markings or writing, and of course, no torn pages. There's nothing you can really do about it if anything like that happens. Sometimes if a book is has a curve, it's curling a bit, or it's a little bit warped or whatever it may be, you can stack other books on top of it, and maybe it'll flatten out a little bit, but it never goes back to being like new or in new condition. So there's nothing you can do about that. But with CDs, of course, you can change cases, and you can resurface the CD surface to have it look like it's new, basically. The artwork, though, of course, if that is damaged, there's nothing you can really do about that. You can't replace it. So, I consider all those things when I'm listing a CD for condition guidelines. And I recommend that everybody reads the actual Amazon condition guidelines for all the different items. You should really know what they say. Like, for instance, you can sell a book that has a dust jacket, or that's supposed to have a dust jacket, but you can sell it without it. You should definitely say that in the condition notes, but you can do that. I think you can even sell CDs without without maybe the insert. I'm not 100% sure, but I don't ever do that. I always make sure it's complete. eBay is kind of the place if it's missing, you know, if it's worth something that you can sell, and if it's missing, you know, some artwork or whatever it may be, you can do that on eBay. But I tend not to do that on Amazon. But when it comes, so anyway, so that was kind of the impetus for this video is that comment that someone made. They were confused about how Amazon can take away people's accounts or restrict them or, excuse me, suspend them because they were listing books as new in new condition without any what do you call it, invoices. And first of all, Amazon does whatever they want, and they were but also, you know, I just don't recommend listing items as new unless you're buying them new from a publisher or whatever it may be. It's not something that I would do or recommend. You don't even need to do it. There's really no point to do it unless you're legitimately getting them new, and you have the paperwork for it. But the person was talking about how people in art, you know, doing retail arbitrage, do that, sell stuff for new. And I'm not 100%, not very familiar with retail arbitrage, so I can't really comment about it. But when it comes to books, just I would stick in the good to like new range. I wouldn't really mess with the new condition. You know, when I sign a book in new condition, I would just kind of stick to that good to like new, and really make sure that or you know, have any issues with a customer or anything like that. You know, you just try to list it at the condition it is, or that it's in better condition. You know, it's like new condition, you listed it very good, or I don't know why you would list it good, but basically that would be kind of the thought process behind it for me. So when it comes to guidelines in general or condition notes, so there's the guidelines and then there's the notes, right? You follow the guidelines, and then you have the opportunity to put in notes for your books or CDs or whatever your type of media you're selling. It could be VHS tapes, could be records. Of course, if you're doing DVDs, could be DVDs, video games, audiobooks, other types of media, could be like audio cassette tapes. So I know a lot of people use listing software. I didn't use it initially, but now I use AccelerList, and there's a lot of different listing softwares, and you can preload the condition notes so that it's a lot faster, and you can go through all the good condition, very good, like new, etc., acceptable if you have any of that, and just automatically have them attached to each item, so you don't have to be copying and pasting or anything like that every time. And so that's a quick way to do it. If you're just using Seller Central, then you're going to have to copy and paste each time. Unless, of course, people do, I guess they use Excel spreadsheets and whatnot to upload it. But anyway, it's important to have those condition guidelines already written out. But then there's sort of two sides of thinking where a lot of people think, well, you know, there's numbers to back it up that say most people just buy through the buy box. They don't actually click through to see all the individual offers. And I don't want to get too much in the weeds with all that, but basically, you know, as long as you have a boilerplate condition note for the book or the CD or whatever media item it is, and it actually applies to what the condition is, you know, may have highlighting, underlining, or writing, you know, may have shelfware, whatever it is, a few creases, you know, dog-eared pages, you know, whatever you want to include, then you can kind of cover your bases. But what a lot of people say is because people buy through the buy box so much that a lot of people don't click through. So me personally, when I don't buy books on Amazon anymore because I have access to so many. But if I had to again, in the past I would always click through and look at the condition notes, I mean, I used to buy before Prime. You know, I used to buy just seller fulfilled, and I would always look at the notes, and I would look at where the, you know, it would tell you where they were based. So I would say, well, how long is it going to take to get to me? You know, that kind of stuff. I would take a look at their feedback rating. You know, it's a big difference between like even a 95 and like an, you know, an 87 or whatever. So there was a lot of things I considered, but I guess most people these days are not really buyers or shoppers, are not really customers, not really diving into that stuff as much. I don't know if they did more in the past, but accurate, and certain things might be worth, like for books, if it has something, could include that. If it's a CD, maybe sometimes even a CD will have, like, artwork will have something written across it, like maybe it's signature, maybe it's inscribed, that type of thing. So of course for eBay you should have that and have the photos, but for Amazon, you know, you should include that stuff as well. But, you know, a lot of people will say, oh, don't waste your time too much on that, just have the boilerplate generic, scan them in, and you don't need to change the boilerplate condition notes. And by and large that's pretty true, but sometimes, you know, it might make sense to change it up for under certain circumstances, certain instances. Well, you guys are quiet today. Not one person has said a thing, which is fine. Feel free to ask questions or comment, but the video will be pretty short. I'm going to end it pretty soon here because I got to pick up my son. But yeah, the comment just made me think about condition guidelines and how it is important as a new seller. I mean, if you've been around a long time, you already know how it works, but if you're relatively new, it's important to pay attention to the guidelines, condition guidelines, and I would steer clear of new condition in general, because that's probably not gonna, it could end badly for you. There's a potential for that. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else in regards to condition guidelines that's worth mentioning for Amazon. Whoops. Pull over real quick. So yeah, I would just make sure you know them. You know, a lot of new sellers are going to be doing just books. You might be getting into some other types of media, but you're probably doing just books, and most people are not going to pay that close attention to the condition notes, but you should still have something there and have it sort of cover all your bases. And even if you have it be really accurate, there's no guarantee if someone claims that they got the item in a different condition and you sent it in, that your condition notes are going to be able to cover you and Amazon is going to side with you. It's probably more likely they're going to side with the customer, unfortunately. But most people are not going to care, as long as it's not, the book is not, you know, if you said it was good and it's just completely destroyed and its pages are missing, or there's rips and tears and it's looked like somebody stomped on it, or, you know, it's just like horrible condition. I mean, it's really, books are pretty durable, so it's got to be in just awful condition for that to happen. But yeah, even so, I mean, you just use common sense when you're listing your books or other media items, and just make sure that it matches the condition. That it's, you know, if it has highlighting, then the condition notes should say may have or has highlighting. You should just be, I just think it's good to be honest about it. Like I said, you can be general. You can be like, it's good condition, so it might have highlighting, it might have underlining, it might have markings or margin notes, etc. So just you know, include that in the condition note, and it might have, you know, general wear or whatever. So just to kind of cover your bases. And acceptable condition, I don't send in too many CDs or books that are in acceptable condition. I tend to stay away from that. If I feel that it's acceptable, I usually don't send it in unless it's a really valuable book or CD. Then I might consider it. Depends on how bad it is, though. You know, I mean, a book in acceptable condition is one person's acceptable, might be another person's good, and vice versa. So I would just be conservative about that. Don't risk your account or to get a suspension or anything like that, to get in trouble. It's not worth it. It's better just to be honest and open and not risk any issues with Amazon, because you never know. You know, you might get that one annoying customer who complains or whatever it may be, and it could affect you negatively. So just you know, you want to send in a lot of items, whether it's FBA or merchant fulfilled, of course. But let's say FBA, you want to send in a lot of books, a lot of CDs, a lot of media items, and you don't want to bother with one or two people tripping you up or ruining your business. So yeah, just keep that stuff in mind when it comes to excuse me, condition guidelines. It's not rocket science, but it's important. It's really important to stick to those. And excuse me, I've sold thousands of books and CDs. Honestly, I probably sold over 10,000. I don't know. Maybe that's not accurate, but I mean, actually, yeah, in 4 years, almost 4.5 years, and I've only ever had a couple of issues with people claiming that it was in really awful condition. When it comes to books, it was really rare, and when it comes to CDs, it's pretty rare too. It only happened a couple times. People claim that they got the CD and the disc was broken or cracked, or it was the jewel case was busted up. And I don't send them in like that. If at worst case scenario, I would send them in with like one or two small cracks to the case if I didn't have an extra case, and I would put that in the condition notes and didn't have a problem. But you know, sometimes because of how the items are handled on the way to the warehouse, in the warehouse, or on the way to the customer, you know, those three opportunities for something when they're out of your hands, there's a chance that something's going to happen to that item. It could be a CD, could be a book, could be a record, could be anything. It's just, you know, don't worry too much about that. When it happens, it sucks, but just keep on, you know, sending stuff in and keep sticking to being honest and, you know, see through when it comes to the condition that your stuff is in, because you always find more books, you always find more CDs, you always find other media items. There's always way more out there. And you don't want to, you know, risk your account or anything like that. So that's all I have to say, and I haven't had any comments or questions, so I'm probably gonna end the video. I appreciate it, guys. If you like the video, give me a thumbs up, subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'll make another video tomorrow. I'm supposed to get another shipment of Gaylords. I just cleaned up my storage unit, stacked some boxes, and got, you know, threw some other books in the Gaylords and kind of cleaned up a bit. And oh, thanks, Dave. Appreciate you watching. And I'm preparing. I've got the space for the 4 Gaylords, 1 book, Gaylord of books, and 3 of CDs. So in the next few weeks, will probably be me talking a lot about the Gaylords in bulk and everything having to do with that. So my game plan is, I've been working towards streamlining my sorting process, because I'm working towards starting the process of looking for somebody to help me on a super part-time basis to do the sorting. So this is probably going to be like anywhere between 10 to 12 to maybe 15 hours a week, and I think I'm getting close to that. So these next 4 Gaylords, after I go through all of those, send everything in, so the next go around of the next order, which will be like probably, you know, 4 weeks or so after So 4 weeks or so from today, or from tomorrow, assuming that everything goes smoothly tomorrow with the Gaylords, I get them tomorrow. Then I will, I'll probably look for somebody to hire somebody, and even on a part-time basis. So that'll be an adventure, but I really want to head in that direction because the whole sorting process by myself is tough. It not only takes a while, it's physically tough, and it's just not efficient. You know, me spending 4 hours, 4.5 hours in the morning to sort a whole Gaylord, and then spend the next day, you know, and spend the next, I don't know, 8 or 9 hours, or the next day, day and a half, scanning before I can finally get to listing. Doesn't make sense if I can have somebody help me. If I can have somebody basically doing the sorting and speeding that process up while I'm scanning, so that once they're done sorting, let's say they can do it by themselves in 3 to 4, even 4 hours, even if it takes them 4 hours. So in that time frame, I will have scanned maybe half or more than half of the CDs, and then I'll have more things for them to do as I'm going through with the CDs I've already scanned. Once they're sorted, so the whole process can go a lot faster. And also that leads me in the direction of getting out of the storage unit and eventually getting a small warehouse space where there is, you know, electricity, where there's an office, a space for a small office, where there's a bathroom, where there's a roll-up door, you know, all that stuff. So, but that's a bigger commitment than just a storage unit, which is a month to month, where, you know, warehouse is a lease for at least a year. So you're committing to a much longer period of time. And it's more expensive because then I need, you know, a lot more stuff. So anyway, but I'm going to need to go head into that with at least one person helping me with the sorting process. And then ideally, if that works out with that person, then getting to the point of finding somebody who can list for me to speed up things even more. So anyway, but that's a whole nother video. But thank you for watching, guys. Please subscribe, thumbs up, and I will see you tomorrow.